Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another BrainScratch Commentaries, and we're celebrating the holidays and I guess Sonic's 30th anniversary this year by doing the thing we always do when we're desperate for content, a Sonic commentary. Let's give it up. We're going back to the original trilogy, starting with the very original Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis, except not really. We're playing the 2013 re-release for mobile devices, the Taxman version, as you might know it as.
Best version.
It really is, and you guys might be wondering, it's like, oh, is he finally hooking up HDMI devices to your mobile phones? When's the Angry Birds commentary? We finally getting some Sonic Dash love up in this bitch? It's like, no, I'm sorry to betray you guys, but I'm actually playing the decompiled version on PC.
I was hoping you'd ask me to join the Angry Birds commentary. I want to be in part of that.
I love these decompiled versions.
I do too.
The process of getting them working is a bit convoluted. You kind of have to get your own copy of the Sonic Android ports and dig into their APK files. No, you have to rename their APK files .zip files and then unpack them and dig into those and get a certain file out and then rename that file and put it in the decompiler's program folder.
Stay over here.
Does this let you play it with a controller if you do that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Because the one thing everybody's like, oh, these mobile versions are the best versions. And I'm like, but then I would have to play Sonic the Hedgehog in 2D with the touchscreen, which sounds awful.
Technically, you can play them on PC using Android emulators like BlueStacks and whatnot, but that requires mapping controller buttons to the goddamn touchscreen.
You can also always get like the NVIDIA Shield to add buttons to your phone and play it that way.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That sounds
I mean,
awful.
like I said, I half jokingly, but from what I have a few friends that play mobile games just like that, and apparently it works just fine. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you do you.
the downside to that is that you need to map controller buttons to touchscreen positions, which doesn't always work well or lag free or anything. I've tried, and also Android emulators can be a bit fiddly on even decent computers like mine. So, you might not get the smoothest experience.
The whole point of having games on your phone is to have a convenient thing to play while you're like on the bus or whatever. You don't feel like bringing your Switch, so you open up your phone and just play something really quick. And having to pull out a gigantic like attachment add-on thing just is completely against the philosophy of playing
At
mobile.
that point, I'll just take out my Switch. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now-
But you see, you say that though, then I would say that would justify having it in the first place. Because if you're willing to take out a Switch for handheld gaming, I don't see why attaching a NVIDIA Shield to a phone is that much different.
Yeah, because I have to take off the NVIDIA Shield to put the phone back into my pocket, or answer a text message or other things. It's just I would rather have the dedicated.
Also, I'm just getting way better experiences on my Switch than I am on my phone. So.
This isn't 2008 anymore, goddammit. It's 2021. Mobile gaming is substantially better than it. I know, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there isn't a lot of shit on mobile devices, but I'm saying as a viable option for gaming, mobile phones are pretty much just as good as fucking handhelds were back then as they are now.
I'm not entirely in agree with that, but sure.
So what we obviously need to do is have a mobile phone that has all the capabilities of a mobile phone, but also fully designed games for it. Therefore,
Also, we need to
I
shape
would
it like a
like
taco
to,
just
yeah,
because.
make it like a taco. Therefore, I would like to posit that the N-Gage is actually the best mobile device of all time.
N-Gage was ahead of a time.
You can play Sonic Advance on the N-Gage.
It's true. Sonic N.
Sonic N. Get N or get out.
Yeah. I'd rather get out.
So
Aspect ratio.
let us all
Absolutely
sound
shit.
Let us all sound off at this point. Who here has played the mobile ports in any form?
I have.
Well, obviously.
I played the
Well, why did you ask?
I've played the mobile version of Sonic CD because I hadn't played Sonic CD before, but that was also what made me not want to play these other mobile ports because playing Sonic CD with a touchscreen was awful. So,
Why did you play the mobile port when that's the only one that has a PC version?
Because I think I got it before it had a PC version.
I think it was released on PC before it got console treatment. And it's funny because if it weren't for that version of Sonic CD, we wouldn't have gotten these in the first place. Because that's where Taxman and Stealth, I believe those are the two main programmers of these games, got their start. Because the thing about Sonic 1, 2, and CD is that they're not ports. They were essentially rebuilt with a completely different engine called the Retro Engine, which, to my knowledge, almost perfectly replicates how the Genesis games were made and handled, and that's why they pretty much feel one-to-one to their Genesis counterparts, but they are not ports. They are technically rebuilt from the ground up.
And we still haven't gotten a 3 and Knuckles version.
Well,
I mean, we can get to that when we get to the commentary proper, because I feel that in itself is probably worth a commentary session and some other shit.
I mean, even ignoring like 3 and Knuckles, I think it's just baffling that like these are like the best versions of Sonic 1 and 2, and yet for some reason, every time like the 3DS version, a new Switch version comes out, they always just like do it over again. They never just like carry over this particular version. They always have to make their own different 3D Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or Sega Ages Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Very confusing. And again, it should be stressed. This is still not on consoles. Like, we have to fucking use decompiled PC versions just to get a means of capturing it.
the Sega Ages version is a special case because they're actually ports of like an arcade version of the game. So that has a certain novelty. But as far as like other ports go, you're living on the edge there.
You know what? I'm normally pretty down on the elemental shields. I find them kind of situational and lame. But when they make Marble Zone actually decent to play, I can
Like, okay, it doesn't just end with Marble Zone. You would be surprised how much faster and more kinetic Sonic 1 becomes just by injecting the elemental shields into things. Labyrinth Zone is actually really fun when you can bounce around in Bubble Shield.
Also, widescreen in Sonic just makes the game a lot better, because even in these old games, you know, people will talk about dimps all that you want. You can still get caught by shit you weren't expecting to come, and having that extra screen real estate is really nice.
Yeah. Another thing I like about Marble Zone is like, I think if you're Knuckles or Tails, you can get to like the higher areas of this level. And they've added a whole bunch of new areas, right?
Yeah, which is strange because they only do that twice in this version of the game. One being Marble Zone, which I don't show off there, but that is definitely there. It's a small little extra pathway that you can get through with Tails and Knuckles. They do it again for Spring Yard. I don't remember if it was Act 1 or 2, but they added a completely third exit to one of the stages.
There's more than one exit in the original Spring Yard Zone?
The original Spring Yard Act 1 or 2, one of those has two exits.
2.
Yeah, it has two exits. This version of the game adds a third for Tails and Knuckles.
Huh.
They did a good job of adding little extras to Sonic 1 and 2. Sonic 1's got a whole 7th special stage, which is ridiculous, and Sonic 2 has...
Can you go super?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you get to that one.
Well, theoretically, I've never seen it done, because that special stage is bullshit, but...
I mean, what we're watching right now is already the height of gameplay. So, you know.
I will be showing off the 7th special stage, and I will be getting to the end of the 7th special stage. I will not be getting the 7th Emerald, though, because Nerves got the best of me.
Aww.
But it's fine, because Super Sonic isn't canon in Sonic 1 anyway. So I'm only adhering to the original Genesis tradition.
Not only is the special stage hard as balls, but you also only have one attempt at it per act, and you can't get special rings in Scrap Brain. So
No, you cannot.
You have a pretty small window to get that 7th Emerald.
However, I do believe, much like Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2, you are able to press start in the middle of the special stage and hit restart.
Oh yeah, the restart function works in individual acts as well. It's a concession to the portable nature of the game.
But you cannot choose restart after already hitting a goalpost, so you have to like have the reflexes ready to like pause and restart before you fuck up.
That's a good
frame by frame your way through it.
That's a good segue into something, though, because the earlier decompiler versions of this game could not get the, or just didn't get around to it yet. They didn't have the mobile version's actual menu system or pause menu. So
How did
until
you play the game then?
They had these like DOS text menus to access the game.
Very basic black and white text.
So
DOS.
that's the version that John is recording, which is why he didn't show any of the menus. And like once or twice in later parts, you'll briefly see the pause menu. It's very basic. A few days before I recorded Sonic 2, which is like a week ago today, they finally got the menus working in the decompiler. So
of course.
you can play the mobile version in all of its glory with the 3D rotating cartridges.
By the way,
and everything.
Special Stage 3 sucks dick.
It does. It always has.
We're still here. This stage sucks. Like,
But,
it is such an obnoxious difficulty.
None of these special stages are good.
But like they did update the special stages substantially. Actually, one of the improvements made in general to the mobile ports is that they do a lot of rotating sprite stuff and transparency effects that the Genesis could not handle. So like you can see right now, they have the emeralds fading in and out of transparency here rather than flashing at 60 frames per second like they used to. The same is true of the shields, and there are quite a few graphical effects that used to sort of rotate a sprite 2 frames at a time that now have actual rotating sprites that the Genesis couldn't pull off.
There's the smooth rotating sprites, though, consequently make the special stages a little harder.
Yeah, you can't actually... the trick in Special Stage 1, where you win by doing nothing, can't be done in this version. The physics are just slightly different enough that you won't manage to get the emerald that way. Which is
I was gonna say, push your face against the oncoming lava wall.
Just
taunt
the
it with your
world's
fire
most
shield.
patient lava wall of all time, just standing there being like, "Hey, Sonic, how you doing?"
Absolutely, yeah. Patient lava walls in absolute chat.
You know, people were always talking about the Sonic 4 Episode 1 Crusher Wall that slowed down to give Sonic a passing chance, but that lava wall there, like, he just waited for Sonic to show up when he could have.
Reading the newspaper.
Oh, I love that spring. Why is this spring there? To stop you from progressing. I'm standing outside your house with a bat. It's to stop you from progressing.
So I'm going to ask the question that a lot of fans might be asking when this video uploads. Why didn't you wait for Sonic Origins to come out?
Because it's not out until next year, and Sonic's 30th anniversary is now. So we need that sweet YouTube revenue.
Also, we have no idea if it's really going to be the Taxman version or not, so...
They say widescreen support, but whether that's indicative to Taxman or they're doing their own thing again, it remains to be seen.
It's like, it better be this version of the game.
Yeah.
Is Sonic Origins just Sonic 1 again?
Sonic 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles, CD.
I mean, it's noteworthy for including 3 and Knuckles.
Yeah, they rarely do that anymore, so...
Well, you'll see it'll be Sonic 3 and then Sonic and Knuckles.
Oh my god.
Wow, you got an invincibility shield, John. You can walk on the lava. That makes things so much faster.
Yeah.
What? There was at least one Genesis collection. I think it was one on the Xbox 360 that did that. That had Sonic 3 and had Sonic and Knuckles, but didn't have the super duper lock-on technology.
That would be the Ultimate Genesis collection, I believe. That was on Xbox 360 and PS3. I have that. It's a good collection, except for the fact that it doesn't have 3 and Knuckles.
Mega Collection is still the best one.
I mean, it's a good collection because it has other stuff that's noteworthy, like Phantasy Star 1 and whatnot, but...
It has all the Phantasy Stars, 1 through 4.
Yeah, it's a good collection for everything but Sonic, despite him being the title character.
I mean, if I'm playing Phantasy Star, I want to play the Sega Ages versions, because that one has a map, and playing Phantasy
Oh yeah,
Star
but that wasn't
1
out at the time.
I know.
That was a Nintendo Switch version, but like it was a good way to experience the series before we got better versions later on.
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, a lot of Phantasy Star developers ended up working on this and the second game.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting tidbit, because a JRPG and Sonic the Hedgehog are about as far apart as I could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, no more far apart than Resident Evil and Goof Troop, but you know.
Good point.
I sure hope this isn't Goofy's blood.
You were almost a Max sandwich.
No more far apart than Monkey Ball and Yakuza, now that I think about it.
I'm just imagining Pete going, "Stop that!" to Goofy, like, laughing at him or something.
Stop it, Goof! Don't open that door!
Total global domination.
You know, it's really weird because Sega has this habit of ignoring their best versions of Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, we didn't get a re-release at all of the Sonic Jam versions.
What did those have that were different?
Well, one thing they had was an easy mode, which made it easier for, like, newcomers to get into the game by making the level design a bit more forgiving and giving you rings during the final bosses. But the other things they added were, like, that was the first version to add the spin dash to Sonic 1. And they also had, like, the manuals built in.
Oh, that was a really neat thing about the Mega Collection, was that they had all the manuals and the Archie comic stuff.
Yeah, but no, the Jam versions were also, much like these versions, ironically kind of rebuilt specifically to work on the Saturn.
Yeah,
Yes.
although I would say like rebuilt not quite as well, especially in the sound department.
Oh, for sure. They weren't perfect, but it's interesting that they went out of their way to just functionally remake them. In a
Well,
lot of
the
ways.
reason that they were trying to do that was to make Sonic relevant to Japan, because Sonic wasn't really popular in Japan. Like,
Sonic
at
has
least
always
until
been
Sonic
more
Adventure.
of a United States and Europe. Well, North America and Europe, I should say. We have a Canadian here, so I guess I shouldn't forget that your country exists like normal.
Also South America too. Like South America, though I will think that's a bleed over from South America, mainly
Yeah.
Brazil,
If I
and
remember
loving the Master
correctly,
System so much.
That the Master System and Genesis were cheaper than the Nintendo counterparts.
The Genesis, I'm not sure, but the Master System, yes.
I know that that's a big reason why Neo Geo was so popular.
The Master System was so hot over in Brazil that they got an exclusive console port of Sonic Blast. On the Game Gear.
Basically what happened was they were able to procure the rights to build Master Systems in Brazil itself, so it didn't have anywhere near the price of like shipping and all that, and importing it and all that. So it was like miles ahead cheaper than the NES at the time. So that's why everyone did that. It also helped that the rights were acquired by some company there to do so, which is why they were able to just put more and more games on there, because it's like,
It was some toy company. I want to say it was like Toy Tech or something like that.
yeah, so basically every Latin American studio that was even remotely trying to make games would just put it on the Master System because it was just way easier than dealing with Japan.
There was also something similar that happened with Neo Geo and SNK, which was why those games got really popular and why there's so many fighting game fans in South America, too.
I believe it. Oh well, we'll see you guys for the next part of Sonic 1. Good night.